Hey, what's up? It's me, JDS 4696 or Jermaine. Today I'm doing a review for my Tupac figure, you know, the late hip hop rapper. So this will be my review for like the figure based on his likeness. Now it isn't based on any kind of like certain like look of Tupac or anything like that. I mean, it's kind of based on like his image, but it's not. It doesn't really like pick from a particular like image, like a movie or like a music soundtrack or like an album or anything like that. It doesn't really pick from. It just has him like in the image that we kind of knew him as, you know, like the Thug Life type image, you know. Like you can see like his boxers and his pants. It's a cool looking figure, you know. It could have had better articulation, and you know the articulation for it isn't like really that great. But like they have like the detail and like the tattoos and stuff that's on his body and stuff are very excellent. But I'll touch on that anyway, you know. But as you can see here, here it is right here, the Tupac figure. Now this figure was part of it was like a series known as All Entertainment, where that was a company that I created it, and it was released in 2001. But like, and I think they would have created more of these, but you know, I guess they didn't, because it was called Tupac Shakur Series 1, but they never did release any more figures, not that I know of. In fact, from this company, All Entertainment, I think that was the only one they ever released. I know they did one with Notorious Big, but I think it was like another company though, you know, Notorious B.I.G. But this right here, this was only just like Tupac. I never saw them release like another one, and this was released in 2001, and I had all this time, you know. So yeah, I'm going to do my quick review for it, you know. And it's a nice figure, and as you can see, it's about like 7 inches in length, as you can see, you know. But I'm gonna touch on it right now. Okay. Okay, so this is the Tupac Shakur figure, as you can see right here. Now, what's cool about it, what makes it a very cool figure, is like the detail in it. They have all like the tattoos, and these are the exact tattoos that Tupac, you know, really had on his body, you know, like representing the Thug Life. You know, these were like the tattoos that he had, and see like Thug Life, you know, they were exactly like this. The tattoos that he had on him. And he did used to wear this like a bandana thing over his head. He did used to always wear that too, like that, you know. But sometimes, you know, he even has like a necklace on with like a cross on it. Very detailed, you know. And he did wear like these like clothes like this that were kind of popular at the time. Cause even I dressed like this, you know, like with his boxers hanging out and his, you know, pants and stuff. And he has on like these like shoes, like tennis shoes, like, you know, hip hop style. He even has on like rings and stuff, you know, as well, you know, like bracelets and stuff. And the watch, now this stuff has kind of faded over time, you know, kind of had it so long. But there is watch, he has a ring right here. It's an excellent looking figure, you know. And in his face, it even looks like his face, you know, like the mustache he used to have and like the goatee, you know. It even kind of looked like him, you know. But the only thing about it didn't really have that much articulation, you know. And it's kind of like rubbery. It doesn't really feel like, you know, so like very detailed or like realistic like the McFarlane figures or like the NECA figures. And it doesn't really have that much articulation in it, you know. Like you can move his arms kind of, but you see they're still kind of like stuck. But you can't like turn his head or anything. But you can't move these, but on his arms, you can't like turn his hands or anything. And I like how he has like the West Side, like hand symbol, like he doing like his hand, because he used to do that too, you know, like West Side, you know, like his hand, making the W like West, you know, like West Side. I think that's pretty cool because both hands he got doing like that, you know. But it doesn't really have any articulation in it at all, so that's what kind of makes it flawed and not really an excellent figure. But it's still worth it, you know, if you can like find it, you know. I think this is like the only one they ever made, you know. And what's another thing that makes it cool and it kind of surpasses other figures, even like McFarlane figures or like the NECA ones, is that it can stand on its own. This does not have no trouble standing at all, which is very excellent. I thought he did a good job with that. It stands up completely perfectly with no problem. Now this right here is the box that Tupac came in. Now this was it said that this was Series 1, as you can see right, it says Series 1. So I think that they were actually planning on doing like more Tupac figures in this series, which was from the company All Entertainment. And as you can see, I had like a picture of Tupac right here in the background. You know. And this is how the box looked on the back, you know. They had like pictures of like Tupac and stuff, as you can see. And it said Tupac Shakur Series 1. So I believe that they were actually planning on doing like another one, you know, but they never actually did though. They never actually did do like another one though. And this was released in 2001, and it was from All Entertainment. But yeah, it's a cool figure, you know, and I think this is like the only Tupac figure they have ever released, you know. So I would recommend it if you could find it. I know this is probably hard to find now, you know. Okay. I like to kind of give a shout out on Tupac's like music. I used to be like a fan, like a big fan of his music, you know. Now he was actually already like kind of deceased, because you know he was like shot and killed in Las Vegas in 1996. But I was actually I didn't really get really hooked on his music until after that had happened, you know. But like I say, I was a big fan of his music. I like a lot of his albums, like, you know, like, and I even got my collection here. Now this collection is real old, because it's like, you know, from the late 90s and like early 2000s. Like I had Tupacalypse Now, which was his first album, you know, which was a good album. I had Me Against the World, which was like his this was his third album, I believe, and this was a very good one, you know. I remember when he was like he was in prison at the time when this was released, and it was like #1 on the charts. And I remember that it was like real popular, and he was like locked up in jail while this was like #1. Because they said it was the first time that the artist had an album that was #1, if I'm not mistaken, but was in prison, you know. And I do remember this being at the top of the charts, you know. And then these two, I mean, this double album, this was All Eyes on Me. Now these right here were actually released. This was actually Tupac's last album before he died, you know, that was released before he died. And it's like, it's his big, no, I think the greatest hits actually went through this, you know, but these like the ones that are very like popular, you know, because it has like Dr. Dre produced songs on it, like California Love and stuff like that, or the one with like Snoop Dogg, you know, Against the Party, you know. And this was also the first, if I'm not mistaken, double hip-hop album. There was like a double album. This was the first one, you know. Good album. Now this right here was my favorite Tupac album right here, and this is Machiavelli. Now this is my favorite Tupac album, and this was released right after he died, a couple months after he died, and he changed his name to Machiavelli right before he died. Now this right here was my favorite Tupac album. It's very like, you know, hardcore, like, you know, it's very cool. Like if I had to pick a favorite Tupac album, it is this one, Machiavelli, the Don Comandante, the 7-Day Theory. Then like these other ones I have were like the his greatest hits collection, which was a double album, the greatest hits. I also had now this was like the underground stuff right here, like the unreleased material that they finally released, like Still I Rise, you know, that was one with Tupac and his group known as the Outlaws. And then this is where I stopped at the time, was with Tupac, and Until the End of the Time, which is another double album. See, I was a big fan of like Tupac, and I'm still am. I like a lot of his music, you know. Thank about he was already kind of like deceased when I really got into his music, you know. I remember liking California Love though, kind of liking that, and he wasn't like deceased yet, because they even had videos, and I remember liking the video because it was like Mad Max, you know. And I do kind of remember liking that one, you know. Plus, you know, he did like movies like Juice, Above the Rim, Poetic Justice, you know, films like that, you know, he also did too, you know. Because, you know, Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson and John Singleton directed it. But yeah, and this is the figure, and I think this is like an excellent figure, you know, they did it. I mean, it's decent. It's a good figure, I would recommend it. It's just like, it didn't really have that much like articulation in it, you know. Okay, so this is my review for the Tupac Shakur Series 1 figure, and this is from All Entertainment. And they never released another one, so, you know, okay.